I'll be going through the answers quickly, so make sure your course book is open and in front of you. And please stop and rewind the video as you need to. So, got your book open in front of you? Are your answers in capitals? Want to know why the answers are the answers? Then let's go. For question number 1, a language pattern that we see time and time again. If you have in these word formation exercises the prepositions of, on or in before the gap, the chances are you're going to need a noun straight afterwards. Or if there is a noun, you're going to need an adjective to modify the noun. Here, we don't have a noun. Struggle for what? We need the noun. What is she struggling for? And if we have a look at the stem word, we can see that it's recognise, which means the noun that we need here is recognition. Question number 2. Once you are seen as plus adjective. The adjective finishes off the language pattern here. If we have a look at the stem word, it's glamour, which means that the adjective we need given the context is glamorous. For question number 3, there's a couple of clues here. First of all, just after the gap, we've got the noun characters, the plural noun characters, which is the first clue that this might be an adjective. Just before the gap, we've got another adjective, well-rounded, which means that we've got, can only be an adjective, another adjective which modifies characters. In this case, the adjective that we need, well, we've got two choices. We can either say unbelievable, which is the negative adjectival form, or we can say believable, which is the positive. If we have a look at the context, it's clear, of course, that we need the positive form, which is believable. For question number 4, the language pattern here demands an adjective. Cruz was what to resist the call? If we have a look at the stem word, we can see that there is an adjective as the stem word. But if we think about the context, we can see that we need the negative form of this adjective, which is unable. Question number 5, once again, we've got the gap before the noun. First clue that we need an adjective. Just before the gap, we've got 1 or 2. These are quantifiers which quantify films. The question is, what kind of films? Hence, the adjective. So it says, if we have a look at the stem word, it says disappoint, which is the verb form. The adjective form that we need is disappointing. For question number 6, if we have a look before the gap, we can see that we've got a possessive pronoun. Possessive pronouns, as I'm sure you're tired of me telling you, need a noun. And this one doesn't have a noun, which means we've got to include it in the gap. If we have a look at the stem word, we can see it's perform, which means that we've got two choices. We can either say performance or we can say performances. Well, if we read later on in the sentence, it says in Pirates of the Caribbean. Here we're talking about one performance, not performances, which is why the answer is the singular form of the noun performance. Question number 7, just before the gap we've got an adjective. Where is the noun that adjective is modifying? Of course, that's exactly what we have to put into the gap here. Great what? Great strength of character. For question number 8, 2 things to bear in mind. Of course, we've got the adjective before the gap, which suggests that in the gap we must put a noun. But what we must also bear in mind is the lack of an article before the adjective. And that's important because if there was an article a charitable, then that would tell us that the noun that we need is singular. But because there isn't an article there, and given the context, we really need a plural form of the noun here. So the answer here is organisations.